What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple Newtype, and in this episode we are returning to Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt. Last time, Daryl and his team escaped the oil rig. They head to Indonesia and have Claudia in their possession. The Spartan crew also learn that Daryl has Claudia. This time, Daryl betrays Zeon. He works for Claudia and Lavan Fu, and Io was thrown into the brig after learning of Claudia. So let's get into this. Daryl goes to the brig to talk to Claudia. Garcia cut the audio so no one could listen in. Meanwhile, Hickam is keeping an eye out while smoking in the smoking pod. Good to see that nicotine's still holding strong in Universal Century. Daryl asks, who is Lavan Fu? She says, we are all connected. You want to connect? You could connect with us. They have a Newtype connection. Whoa! She wants to know why he fights for Zeon. They're just going to help Carla until she is well enough to remake the reused P device. She's just being used. Daryl slaps her and tells her that she doesn't know anything about Carla. But she does. She's in your head. They have a cry session together. Daryl then starts talking to Lavan Fu directly. They both share the burden of losing loved ones during the Thunderbolt sector at the end of the war. So naturally, these two kiss. Even Garcia and his men are watching and wondering what the hell is going on. Also watching Daryl is Kaufman. Io was informed that Daryl's team was on the oil rig, and it seemed they too are after the reused P device. Io laughs like a madman. He goes crazy and begins fighting MPs. They can't handle Io. Captain Pike punches him and knocks him to the ground. The captain was a former boxing champion. He yells at the MPs for sucking at doing their job. Commander Humphrey says his immaturity is why he lost to Daryl. He needs to become a man. Cornelius comes in with his sweet hipster sweater to see Io in the brig. He finds Bianca already there. Io's being a crybaby. The Zeon remnants make it to the underwater Dolos. Everyone celebrates Daryl's return. The Zoc and Mad Anglers dock. They take Claudia prisoner. Garcia, Billy Hickam, and Janice think that the connection with Lavan Fu was so strong, and Daryl didn't have control over himself while talking to Claudia. Sebastian talks to Kaufman only to be led into a trap. Lavan Fu gives Claudia new orders. Though we aren't told the mission, Daryl comforts Carla. In Pekanbaru, Indonesia, the Federation built a base that looks like Megacity 1 from Dread. Lieutenant Nelson meets with Pike, who seems to be an old friend. They have the biggest Medea fleet in all of Asia. It will take 7 days to get the Spartans' Minovsky craft system back up to 100%. It's a shore leave chapter. Cornelius and the mechanics aren't taking leave, as they are going to get Atlas up and running. He knows that Io won't be taken off of the Gundam because it is so fine-tuned to him. Bianca decides not to leave the ship and hangs out with Io still in the brig. He tells Bianca about how he grew up with Claudia, but they didn't date until the military academy. Then the war broke out and she started doing drugs. He is conflicted with his feelings. Bianca shows him a sweet new logo she made for the team. Some men overhear their conversation. The MPs take Claudia underground, where she meets with other Zeon remnants who preach Lavan Fu's vision. Many have already infiltrated Zeon. Daryl takes Carla for a walk. Meanwhile, Zeon is discussing the volcano Tal in Manila. The Nyan Alliance has a secret base there. Kaufman found this intel from Claudia, but he was supposed to wait to interrogate the prisoner. He wants the Zoc and the Lorenz team to check it out. Daryl heads underground with Carla, where he meets with the Nyan Alliance members. They're going to wipe Carla's mind with the help of Lavan Fu. It's almost like a collective hive mind. The Federation is torturing the Alliance monks. Someone is sneaking in the shadows. It seems that Lavan Fu was a former Newtype and Fetty lab rat under Humphreys. She gives him the charm. He was eventually cast aside. The Fetties are also informed of the Nyan Alliance base in the volcano in Manila. They think this is where they are concealing the Psycho Zaku. They got this intel from one of the monks that they tortured. The Fetties have to recall the Spartan crew back to the ship. What a short shore leave. They have to keep this on the down low as they still have a spy on board. Humphreys is wearing the charm now. Cornelius brings Io some food. He thinks of the past when they rode stunt planes. Io just wants war. He can't think of a life without war. Also, he is drinking a Spark. I'm more of a Spark Remix fan. Bring back Spark Remix! Since the team is being recalled, Io's detention is suspended. Io runs out of there so fast. Cornelius puts on a coat and hat. He looks like the man in the shadows. Cornelius is the spy. Zocs, Jukons, Mad Anglers, and pretty much all of the sea things move in. Daryl says that he isn't sure of the Nyan Alliance, but if they could help Carla, then he is willing to try. The South Seas Alliance takes control of their ship. He tells Carla that all he really wants is to pilot the Psycho Zaku and fight Io. He tells her to stop calling him daddy. Sebastian is the only one that is helping Daryl. Back at the Dolos, Zeon is having a banquet. Commander Kleber gives a speech about the puppet government put in place at Side 3 post-war. While giving his speech, some men are informed about Daryl and his mutiny. Suddenly, the Dolos is attacked. Water floods the entire ship, and it falls into the depths of the ocean. Daryl and his new team were responsible for the destruction of the Dolos. Men approach his team. He tells Claudia to stay in the rear. It happens to be Kleber. They survive the Dolos. Kaufman is in his GOG. He takes out some Zaku mariners. Kleber is in the Greblo and fires the megaparticle cannon. Daryl fires on the Greblo, causing the Dolos team to surface. But waiting for them is Sebastian using his weapons cluster B pack. Daryl takes out Kleber and the Greblo. They have no choice but to surrender. Daryl tells them that they are free to go, but he is going to continue fighting and they are welcome to join him. Many will probably use this opportunity to abandon the military and return home. Carla tells Daryl not to forget her when she goes back to her former self. The remnants of the Living Dead division decide to stay by Daryl's side. They make their way towards the tall Volcano base. Garcia says he should have stayed with Daryl since he is a spy, but one person who does decide to work with Daryl is Billy Hickam. Near the base of the Volcano base are Juagus, aka the underwater elephant. There is also an Agai Guy. The Thunderbolt versions look more menacing. This is the South Seas Alliance's largest base, so only the most faithful guard this place. Sebastian thinks it would be best if they kept their rank to maintain some sense of order, even though they aren't with Xeon anymore. Many have gathered for Daryl and Carla's arrival. Monks named Nguyen and Donnie Lau greet them. They tell Claudia that she will now work as security for this base. They have their own mobile suit production facility where they are working on the new Psycho Zaku. It is retrofitted to work in Earth's gravity. They introduce him to the scientist in charge of the operation. It happens to be none other than JJ Sexton, their former comrade. Carla and Daryl hate him. He wants to show them the new Psycho Gundam Mark II. The Volcano base uses the volcano's thermal energy. The heat of the volcano prevents them from being detected. Sexton makes fun of Carla, so Daryl doesn't hesitate to threaten to kill him. He shows Daryl data on Atlas Gundam. Levon Fu personally greets them in a Psycho Zaku. He welcomes Daryl and Carla. Claudia feels bad because she knows the two are going to be used as martyrs. They are also going to help awaken Carla out of this childlike state. Levon gets into Billy's head as well and tells him that he is a Newtype, but his powers haven't awakened yet. Daryl puts his faith in Levon Fu. He awakens Carla. As he does so, she is reminded of the horrors of the Thunderbolt sector, especially that part where she watched a bunch of people get vaporized by a beam saber. Oh no, the bad thoughts are coming back. Carla awakens sometime later. She doesn't happen to remember who Claudia is. Daryl is currently testing the Psycho Zaku Mark II. The MS-06R Psycho Zaku Mark II is the successor to the Zaku 2 high mobility type reuse P device. Like the original, it allows the pilot to control the unit as if it were its own limbs. The armor to this version is vastly lighter than the original. Daryl's version never gets the space use upgrades, but the other Psycho Zaku units have the large booster of the original Psycho Zaku. This uses the ground Zaku 2 as the base. Weapons include a cracker grenade, a 280mm Zaku bazooka, a 360mm giant bazooka, a 120mm machine gun, a Rakuten bazooka, a heat hawk, and a shoulder shield. Daryl is fast. Sebastian lays down suppressive fire. Daryl takes out his Gatling gun. Carla is watching the test with JJ Sexton. Daryl then takes out one of the GOG's arms. Next, the Zaku takes a chunk out of the high GOG. Billy tells Sexton to end the test, but Daryl seems to have lost control. He goes in to attack Billy, but Daryl is taken out by a Zaku tank. The MS-06 Zaku Tank Thunderbolt version is Otagaki's attempt to make Zeon's version of a gun tank while maintaining the essence of the original Zaku tank. The tank's base is a Magella attack tank with the original shovel and claw arm. Weapons include two 280mm cannons and a 120mm machine gun in the back. Levon Fu is in the Zaku tank. He tells Daryl not to lose himself. Daryl doesn't care. He just wants to be a pawn in his war. Levon doesn't want him to lose his men in the process of Daryl's chaos. He apologizes to the boys. They are amazed by the power and speed of the Psycho Zaku. The old Living Dead boys are happy to be working on the Psycho Zaku again, but they wonder what the other units are for. And that will do it for this episode. Daryl's turn was quite sudden, but he is destined to fight Io once again and can't do so without the Psycho Zaku. Io is also losing it to the fact that Claudia is in the hands of Daryl. All are playing in the hands of Levon Fu. But what is his ultimate plan? Next time, Daryl and Carla have sex. We see other Psycho Zakus in action, and we learn of what Levon Fu is really after. But that will do it for now, Newtypes. Remember, don't let your girlfriend who suffers from arrested development call you daddy. Peace.